Let's look at what is happening on the ground and speak now to Abed Karrim, who's a project coordinator at the Al-Imdaad Foundation, an NGO in KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Karrim. I wonder, for NGOs like yourselves, with so much devastation on the ground, where do you begin?
Good afternoon to yourself and to our respected listeners. 100%, true when the gentleman mentioned people are picking up their lives. I'm talking to you live from Ladysmith, and as you know, Ladysmith has been flooded again. We were 2 months back in the same flood situation. The whole CBD is flooded. People are not going to work. Shops are closed. No, people are not, in their households. Last night we had to evacuate about 20 people from the Ladysmith CBD and take them to the indoor soccer. And as I talk to you right now, the river is still that high, about 8.2 meters, and it's still not going down and waterlogged of the entire CBD of Ladysmith, just to give you a picture. And the situation right now is, and I was coming into the area, we found all the workers that have come to the Lambiti industrial area normally use the Shepston Bridge and go to the taxi rank to get their mode of transport back home. They all are walking through one area, remove their shoes, their socks, and walk through the water to get to a taxi rank on the other end of the town.
Now,
and that's the situation as we talk right now here in Ladysmith.
Mr. Karrim, I remember you and I having a conversation when these floods hit that particular area 2 months ago. And one of the things that we then saw was a rescue operation unfolding live on air as some of your team members were trying to rescue somebody from their home. Talk to us about the rescue efforts this time around. How are they going?
Fortunately, in this situation, there were no rescues that were needed to be done, because as soon as the water levels started coming up to, ankle and knee high, the households started moving out of their homes with all their personal belongings and whatever they could salvage, and moved out to higher grounds, more specifically in the CBD, and moved towards the higher ground where the South African Police Services officers are, and they moved over there. So fortunately, this time in the Ladysmith situation, the Al-Imdaad Foundation and Search and Rescue of SABC and all did not do any rescue this time around.
And I'm keen to find out, those who are not in areas that may be viewed as somewhat dangerous, are they heeding the call to stay home?
Yes, many are, and of course we must also mention it. One is the flood that is in the local Ladysmith, and not forgetting the rural areas around Ladysmith, which has storm, damage and drenched in water. Their houses have collapsed, and we know many of our poor residents in those areas have their houses built with sand. And the Al-Imdaad Foundation went out yesterday and assisted in Ward 20, a home that had their home, water fully locked up with the roof fell in, and we assisted them with the disaster management of it together. And at the same time, we are also responding with our Durban office in the Durban area, and as you rightfully said, Durban is in a situation right now. But what was very interesting of today is that in Spingo Beach, where it is waterlogged and people are using boats, the community, in fact, the community is using their own private boats and going and fetching families out of homes that are trapped. And there was some request that had come into the Al-Imdaad Foundation to say that we need chronic medication. Many of our elderly are in the homes, they don't have their medication, we cannot get to the doctors or the chemists, etc. So the Al-Imdaad Foundation Durban office had hired a helicopter, and we took on medications that were sponsored by pharmacies in Durban, and we went into Spingo and landed at a school ground, and from there members of the community came, and the medication of chronic medication were given out to the elderly and whoever needed it. So the Al-Imdaad Foundation, with many other NGOs, and we applaud these NGOs, they're doing a fantastic job. God bless all of them. But there has to be specific situation. Right now it's search and rescue. The second phase is once the water and everything has subsided, then you look at what is the intervention assessment of what type of damages. And I can tell you, coming from flood, this is not an easy one. To just brief you, ma'am, that in Ladysmith, we just finished off with the last 200 food parcels. And we said,
All right.
we're going to give it 90 days to have, help the community. And here we hit with another flood again, and we've gone back to square one. But God is great. We will assist, and as South Africans, we always stand together and we help our communities. And the Al-Imdaad Foundation, we are here to work with all of our people, including disaster management, which we have a good relationship with.
All right, Mr. Karrim, really would like to commend you for the work that you and your organization are doing on the ground. Thank you so much for giving us a sense of how things unfold. We'll continue to keep tabs on that situation and stay close to you throughout the course of the days, just to get a sense of how things are going. That's Mr. Abed Karrim. He's a project coordinator at the Al-Imdaad Foundation. This is an NGO in KwaZulu-Natal.